to another edition of Creator News Live. And Lou, I'm getting an echo from you really badly.
Just all of a sudden?
Yeah.
I didn't touch anything.
Oh, no, I'm hearing the trivia. That's what it is. Okay. We'll just deal with that. I thought it was an echo of me. So, folks, we are live from the Magic, so this is going to be fun. Lou is on a cruise doing research for some amazing things, but we will just deal with the audio because I think he's doing trivia at the same time because that's the kind of guy he is. So, Connor Brown, how are you doing today, my friend?
I mean, not as good as a guy who's about to play trivia on a cruise ship, but I guess I'm pretty good, all things considered.
Yeah. So, this is going to be an interesting show because we weren't able to do this a couple years ago. We've actually got Lou live from a cruise ship. So he's on the Disney Magic right now. And I'm hearing a lot of trivia. Lou, is there anywhere else you could go?
Yes.
Okay. Because it's pretty bad. So, Connor, tell us about the weather in Orlando.
It's funky, man. Sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's hot. I guess that's life, right? But we are coming into the perfect timing here in Florida. I always say it's when, people really want to get away. There's no snowstorms, thank God, and people come to Florida to enjoy.
Yeah, so Lou is actually on the Magic right now, and if you're just joining us, and so he's trying to get to a quieter spot because he went and sat where he could do trivia at the same time, and it was a little loud. So he's walking away. Luckily, technology with the new, I think it's Starlink's on the ship now, Connor, that before, remember how bad the internet packages were on the ships? Like, you couldn't do anything.
Oh, you couldn't do anything. So, I mean, this is a huge, if you're looking to work from home, work remotely, on a cruise ship, you can do it on pretty much any ship these days. And it's an awesome way to not use PTO, if we're being honest.
That's right. So I wanted to bring up some of our friends as Lou is relocating to a quieter spot. We've got Amy Keys from Love My Museum saying, Lou. Hi, Lou. She's saying hi, but mostly Disney here. Sean is saying, happy Friday to you as well, Sean. Addicted to Dirt. Rich is saying, what a trifecta this is. Good morning, gents. Good morning to you, my friend. Dustin Stout, the amazing guy from Magi, is waving hello. And Sean is saying, it's cold here in Virginia. Maybe snow Monday. Yuck. No, thank you. That's why I got out of Kansas and moved to Texas. So Doghouse Media is saying, good morning. Good to see Lou on the move again. Kevin, thank you for coming today. And amazing, Zach Brown is saying, Mongello on the move. And look at him. There he is. Lou, how are you doing? Are you back?
Any better?
Yeah, worse. A lot better. A lot better. So where are you right now on the ship?
I am on deck 4 in the atrium.
Nice. Very, very cool. Well, we are going to talk about monetization, and we'll kind of dig into this a little bit later. But while we get started, we're going to, just because this is a weird show, I want to go ahead and get our sponsor, mention them. Our friends over at Ecamm. You can find out more about them at ecamm.com/Jeff. You can save 15% on your first purchase by using code Jeff15. Lou is a fan. Connor is a fan. We're all fans of Ecamm. It's an amazing program. They've got some amazing stuff coming up here this year. They got their creator camp, not just in the U.S., but it's also in the U.K. That's coming up really shortly. So make sure you guys go to ecamm.com and check that out. But camp's coming up as well. I'm going to be there. It's going to be amazing. So much fun. Lou was there last year. It's just a bunch of creators having a good time, learning things. Yeah. So if you haven't been there, you need to go. Right, Connor?
It's awesome. I went the year before last. It's so cool to get away. You get those northeastern falls. The leaves are changing.
It's beautiful.
And you get to be with some really, really cool people learning all about creating. It's awesome.
Yeah. All right, so now we are Lewis sat down. He's probably got chicken tenders off of the screen there, but we're going to hit go on the podcast machine and get started. All righty. Hello, folks. Welcome to Creator News Live. I'm Jeff C., and you're not.
And I'm Connor Brown, and this is the show that keeps you up to date on what's happening in the world of the creator economy and so much more.
You ever wonder what it takes to turn your passion into a profitable business? Maybe you're trying to figure out how some creators build loyal communities and consistent revenue at the same time. Or maybe you're looking for a clear path from posting content to running a brand that actually lasts. If that sounds like you, today's episode is one you won't want to miss.
We're excited to welcome Lou Mongello, host and producer of the award-winning WDW Radio podcast, which has been named Best Travel Podcast 9 years in a row. A former attorney who left the courtroom to pursue his passion, Lou has built a thriving business around podcasting, live events, books, tours, community, cruising somehow as he's on a ship. As a speaker and expert on building engaged audiences, he helps creators and organizations understand how to turn passion into purpose and purpose into revenue. Today, he's sharing what it really takes to monetize your content without losing the heart of what makes it special.
So sit back, clear your schedule, clear your mind, and get ready for this week's episode of Creator News Live.
If your profits have sprung a leak and your income's looking weak, Lou Mongello's here to say, let's turn that passion into pay.
There you go, Mr. Lou Mongello. Thank you so much for being on the show again, my friend.
Thank you for finding the grandchildren of the Andrews sisters and having them sing that little ditty.
We've got it dialed in. We have got it dialed in. So, yeah, we love doing the jingles for our guests. It's pretty fun. So I want to ask the audience as we get started. We're talking about monetization today. I want to know how you're currently monetizing your content. If you are, hopefully you are. Are you using sponsorships, digital products, services, affiliate income, or you're not monetizing it yet? Let us know down below how you're monetizing your content. I know we got a lot of creators here watching. I would love to know how you're doing that. So let's just jump right in, Lou, because you actually have this slide when we go to Momentum conferences where you have, all your different revenue streams. But I want to know what monetization strategies have consistently worked for you for over 20 years building WDW Radio and your other businesses.
So honestly, Jeff, it's sort of the broad stroke of the answer is I like monetizing in ways and with things that I can control. Right? I rather try and attract than chase, meaning most of my revenue models and streams have not been on things like affiliate income and things like that. It's either been creating products, creating services, working one-on-one with sponsors, and sort of being able to manage what the different revenue looks like. But along the way, I've tried a little bit or a lot of bit of almost everything. And I did, speaking of the slide and the presentation, the original slide, there was a lot of different spokes off that hub. And I've very much pared that down over the years.
So let me just do a follow-up really quick, Connor. How did you decide what to quit? Because that's a big thing for a lot of creators. Like, you said you just took some stuff off there. How did you decide what to take off?
Yeah, man, learning to say no, just in general, is one of the best things I ever did. And it's very difficult to do. It's even more so when you have to learn to say no to money. But it is sort of that going back to an old adage of being able to say no to certain things so that you make the room for saying yes to the things that you need to do, you want to do, or you want to experiment with. So it really did. Thank you. It came down to not just what was the greatest ROI for me, but it really just comes down to what serves my audience and what serves me. It's the stuff that I want to do and that I enjoy doing.
Very, very cool.
I love that. I think we have plenty of great comments here too about what people are currently monetizing. Amy saying services, digital products, YouTube ad revenue from but mostly Disney, and Rich at Addicted to Dirt PR, services, digital products, and the Meta bonus program. That is good too. We know plenty of people who are taking advantage of that right now. Lou, I feel like in today's day and age, it's not the creator economy, it's the course building economy, right? It seems like so many people are saying, the best way to monetize your worth, your value, your expertise is to create a course. And I feel like that's good for some people, but probably a lot of other creators are feeling just pressured to launch a course. So how should a creator, a solopreneur kind of decide when a course makes sense for their audience, or if it makes sense for their audience to sell to at all?
So I'm partially laughing because I think for me, I think I have a number of different feelings about this. Because one, look, depending on who you can talk to, they're either going to say, "Oh my God, you have got to do a course. Why haven't you done a course yet?" And you talk to somebody else and go, "Courses are dead." Right? There is this oversaturation of courses. People don't have the time and or attention to sit down and take courses. The question you have to ask yourself is building a course not just right for your audience, but is it right for you? And like for me, for years, friends of mine, and I think Jeff was like, "Dude, you got to build a course. You got to build a course. How come you haven't built a course?" And I just couldn't wrap my heart and head around it, whether it was the content, whether it was the messaging. And it didn't feel right for me. I eventually did it, but still to this day, it's not the thing that I think allows me to do what I do best. So the very long-winded answer is you've got to decide if a course is right to serve your audience, or is it something that they need, want, and are willing to pay for? And two, is it in your wheelhouse? Like, I would rather do live video than do recorded video. I would rather speak at a conference than record a course. That's sort of the decision you have to make and determine if it's right for you. Because two, building a course is great, but the if you build it, they will come mentality doesn't work anymore, because that's when the real work starts, is the marketing of the course and trying to distinguish and differentiate what makes your course different and better and more valuable than the other courses that are out there.
So let's go down this a little bit. Like, so let's say a lot of people feel like you. I don't know, courses aren't really something I look forward to doing. It's a drag to try to put one together. The lift doesn't seem like it's going to hit the ROI that I want to do. So aside from courses and sponsorships, what like underrated revenue streams would you suggest to creators? I know you have like masterminds and you teach this stuff at Momentum. Like what do you say like to people like, okay, I don't want to do a course. What else is there?
I'm going to give you the recovering attorney answer, because there's a ton, man. And it goes from the simplest list, like having an affiliate program, to things that are more community driven and community based, which is a lot of sort of the sandbox that I like to live and play in, to monetizing your audience, like with sponsorships. Again, great ROI, but it's also a very heavy lift to sometimes find and work with and negotiate with sponsorships. But even there's other things too, like maybe not creating a course, but maybe doing professional public speaking. But I think there's also, these are sometimes steps, and not everybody's staircase looks exactly the same.
So we got a great question from Scott Brown. He goes, Lou, for you, has building community been more powerful than building courses?
Unquestionably. Community is the heart and soul of everything that I do. I would not be here metaphorically and physically if it wasn't for community, because I think what happens is people sometimes focus, and look, there's no right or wrong. This is just the way I chose to do it. Rather than building a product and then trying to go and sell to everyone or trying to find the audience, I wanted to sort of build true, meaningful, authentic community first, and then creating things that serve them. Because when they know, love, and trust you, as you build things that serves them or that they're asking for, not only do they want that product or service, but they also want to help you. So you sort of have this sort of built-in way without having to start from zero in terms of marketing. That's just, Jeff and guys, that's just what has worked for me. Certainly there's other business models that work very well for other people.
Got it.
Now, your attention, please. The signal you are about to hear is the signal for the general alarm.
So Lou's not going down with the ship. Right now there is a they're doing a little warning there. So by the way, if you guys are joining us right now, Lou is not on vacation. I didn't pull him in on vacation. He's actually doing work on a cruise ship. So I know it looks like Lou's living the high life on the high seas. He's not really. This is actually work for him right now. Okay, go ahead, Connor.
So I think one thing that Lou is great at doing is the simple fact that he gives, right? He gives a plenty of stuff for free, right? And I think when you're building community, that's super, super important, right? You want to still give to your community without, coming off 100% as, hey, you got to buy this, you got to buy that, right? That coupled with, but we want to create a business. So at the end of the day, we are going to have to monetize in some way. And at some point, things are going to have to be given away, not for free. We've had Allie Bjork on before who talks about tiny offers. And she says, I don't give anything away for free. I don't do any lead magnets. If you want any of my expertise, you have to buy it. And I think Lou does a great job of balancing it. So there's a million ways to do it. But Lou, how do you balance offering free content that can build trust with your community, which is so important? And then how do you balance that with actually offering a paid offer that doesn't turn off your audience and your community that you've worked so hard to build?
So my philosophy has always been to give with no expectation of anything in return, right? Look, and this started for me really as a passion project. I didn't go down this road and this Disney road of creating content as a way to make money. Yes, I wrote a book, but that was really just a personal challenge. So I wanted to give just because I loved talking about it and engaging, and then eventually found that there was ways to monetize. So my philosophy has been, if you give value and give value consistently and authentically, when you do finally have an offer, people will be grateful for that and be willing to not only consume what else you have, because you have this proven track record of giving value for free. Now I'm willing to pay for whatever is next. But I think it's also out of gratitude and appreciation. That being said, I do also think there is a very valid philosophy of, when you first start, it's okay to start trickling in a little bit of monetization. So if you start a podcast and have, an affiliate program for something that you use and maybe serves your audience, it's okay, because it sets the audience expectations right away that, okay, there is going to be some sort of monetization aspect. There's going to be ads. Because if you've been doing the show for 5 years and all of a sudden you start running ads, your audience might be like, whoa, wait a second, we haven't had this before. But I think if they love you, man, they understand that it's a business. You explain that to them, and I think they're willing to embrace it and, more importantly, support you.
So on that same note, because you mentioned, you may want to start early. So when should creators start thinking about monetization? Like, should they wait till they hit a certain growth metric, or should they even right out of the gate, let's say they start a podcast, should they just, like Audible is really easy to become an affiliate for, should they start with something like that, like you said, to train their audience that there is going to be monetization coming later, or should they wait till they hit 1,000 subscribers? What's your thoughts on waiting for that number?
This is not going to be helpful, because the lawyer in me can argue both ways, right? There is a sense of treat it like a business from day one, not just in terms of how you approach what you do and the way you look at what you're creating, but from the audience perspective, understanding that there is a business and monetization side to it. I think if I'm starting out, I want to focus more on creating valuable content, being the best at what you can possibly do, figure out what your differentiator is, and building that authentic and meaningful community, and then start to monetize, because it is another sometimes difficult road to hoe. And I know this, you have to do what feels right for you guys. Like, I think if it feels right for you to start monetizing day one and you feel like you're good at it and you understand it and you can weave that in, that's great. For me, I waited a little while, and I wanted to sort of build the community first and then monetize on top of it.
Very cool.
And there's a quick addition. I think the way you just a little addendum. How you monetize is also going to be contingent on what you build first. Like, if you're starting a podcast and day one you're like, I'm going to start a Patreon, I wholeheartedly believe that is not the way to do it. Patreon is a way for you to, yes, super serve your audience, but for me, Patreon, which I had a very difficult time sort of wrapping my head around, because I don't like asking for money, which I know it's not making me a good businessman. It was a way for me to give back to community. So before I had what I thought was going to be a big ask, I really needed to ensure that the community foundation was there first. So don't start a Patreon on day one, but start it after you've built that level of community.
Yeah, I think it matters. It matters on what type of thing. Like I was able to start with Ecamm right out of the gate. One, because I had a relationship with them before. I had talked to them, and I also used them. Like so, it made sense, and so they were a sponsor from day one. Very blessed that happened. But I think if it makes sense for whatever content you're doing, there's a guy on Dave Jackson's community who has very niche. He does a podcast about model trains, and so started out and like people went to him for that model train device, and so he has all these model train companies sponsoring him. So it made sense for him to do it that way out of the gate. So I think it really depends on your niche and the content that you're creating.
Lou hates asking for money, but God knows Jeff has given him a lot of his own money.
That's right.
So
I'm missing a kidney. Yeah.
It works. It works, you know. As we move on to our next section, I want to ask the audience a quick question around this pricing structure idea. To the audience listening or watching, have you ever underpriced something because you were afraid to charge more? That could be a product, it could be a service, it could be a course. Drop in the comments. Let us know, what did you underprice and what did the lessons learn when you started to sell that thing or charge more for it? And as we move into our next section about, community and mindset and long-term success, Lou, I wanted to ask you, you emphasize, clarity and structure over chasing trends when it comes to monetization, right? We know in the solopreneur space, there's always a new way to monetize, right? Every social media platform, now you can monetize somewhere. So we see all these people going full in on creating content for that. Amazon affiliate stuff, Amazon shoppable links, years ago, those were huge sorts of things. And it's easy to kind of jump all in and put all your chips in, but then the rest of your business can kind of go to the wayside. So when we think of that, why do you think it's so important for monetization purposes to really just focus on that clarity and the structure of what you're monetizing versus just chasing the trends?
Because not everything is for everybody, Connor. Like live shopping, ridiculously hot right now, right? It's super popular. People are doing very, very well. But if it's not what you do, and if it doesn't serve you and your audience, then maybe that is not the thing that you should be chasing. So I am not a trend chaser. I'll look to see what is working for people, and maybe I can ideate from that. But I'm very much, to a certain degree, wearing blinders and doing the things that I want to do, and more importantly, I think are appropriate for my audience. I think if I started live selling on whatnot right now, my audience would be like, who are you and what have you done, with Lou Mongello and his bowl of chicken tenders?
Right. So on that, there's a great question here, and this kind of ties into, community versus size. But Adam asks, Disney WDW Radio has been around for quite a while now. I mean, it's like over 20 years old. Like, I mean, you just celebrated. I can't remember what it was. How many? What was it? 25?
20.
20. Okay.
Yeah, 20.
Yeah, and he says, in a world where everybody seems to be a Disney creator and a live streamer in the park, what sets you apart from everybody else? So, why are you still doing this stuff when there's so many other people popping up and everybody seems to be going live? And so I want to know, and I know Adam does too, like, what do you think sets you apart in that space?
So consistency, longevity, absolutely, I think is important, because if you're not consistent, especially I think like as a podcaster, for example, we are creatures of habit. If your show comes out on Monday, your audience looks for your show to come out on Monday. They certainly understand if you miss a week, if you miss time, but if not, their attention is going to be drawn somewhere else, right? And you don't necessarily want that. You want them to make sure that the attention stays focused on you. It goes back to what you said too. Like, what is your differentiator? Right? What sets you apart from other shows? I don't know, right? You have to ask somebody who's listening. Like, I think the question is unfair to ask me. You have to ask somebody else. Like, why are you still listening to Lou Mongello after 20 years? But I think it is, like, I don't want you to stop listening, but why? You've got to sort of figure out what your differentiator is in the type of content you create. And honestly, going back to this idea of blinders, I don't pay attention to what anybody else is doing. I'm not distracted by new people coming in, what they're doing. Oh, I see that a lot of people are talking about this thing. I don't listen to any other Disney podcasts. Not that there's not great stuff by really good people, but one, I don't have a lot of time to listen to podcasts, and usually when I do, it's all Jeff C. all the time. And I don't ever want somebody to accuse me of copying what somebody else is doing, and I don't want to be distracted by what somebody else is doing. I do the show that I would want to listen to, and I hope somebody else out there feels the same way.
I think a couple people want to listen to the show you want to do. So you got that going for you,
Yeah.
which is nice. Amy has a great comment. She talks about, oh, yes, I had a client yell at me in the first 5 years. Amy, you have got to raise your rates. Now I keep checking my competitors to help keep my pricing in check. What I think is so important about that is the freeing aspect of just saying, this is the price and this is the price, right? Not like going down because you're nervous someone's going to say no, versus you should just be accepted that somebody's going to say no. That's fine. They're not the client for you. It's a very, very freeing thing, but it's really hard to get to, right? So Lou, for the people that struggle asking for money like yourself, right? What can they do? What can creators do to kind of shift their mind to start asking for money, and what separates them from the people who are kind of, they have no problem with it? How can they shift their mind to start actually monetizing effectively?
It's funny because when you posed the question to the audience, I was laughing because your question was, how do you know, like, if you're charging too little? And I laughed because I'm like, for me, it's how do I know when I'm not just, I know I have, and I've had friends tell me, like, you're charging too little, you're asking for way too little. I think I'm really good at giving advice to other people in terms of how much they should charge. I'm really bad at taking that advice myself, right? So I find myself probably undercharging. It does go back to this idea of perceived value, but sometimes it's difficult to ask for money. And more importantly, especially when you're starting out, there is no sort of guidebook in terms of what you should charge.
Is it doing a horn again? Well, so he's muted himself. So one of the things, and we've talked about this in our mastermind a lot, and Connor knows this as well, and Amy as well, says that, we are always talking about you need to charge more. You need to charge more because we automatically, I think every creator I've known feels like they're not, that if they charge what they think they're worth, they're going to lose, clients or money or whatever. And most often that does not happen in my experience. So I'll go ahead and Lou, I think your horn is done.
Yeah. So the formula that I use for other people, and I'm bad at taking for myself, is, especially if you're charging for a service and there is no sort of quote unquote industry standard, because I don't think for a lot, whether you are a speaker, whether you're a coach, consultant, I don't think that there is an industry standard for sometimes what we do. Yeah, I think the way that I tell people to do it is find the number that you ask for that makes you uncomfortable and then double it. And that's probably what your true value should be. There's a whole conversation about perceived value and things like that as well in terms of pricing products and services and things like that. But I think that's how you get to the number. And look, man, you could always come down. You can't go back up, right? So say, for example, you're a speaker and you're like, I don't know, do I charge $500? Do I charge $5,000? Do I charge $15,000? Where is the number you start to feel uncomfortable? Double that number, because then you can always negotiate down if need be. You could never negotiate back up.
Very, very cool. I want to ask, this is a great question from Adam. He says, Lou, did the coaching business launch because Disney content has become difficult to monetize on its own? So if for those who don't know and are just joining in for the first time and like, who is this Lou Mongello guy? What does he do? Why is he on a ship? So you started with Disney content, but then you also created momentum. And I kind of think of like the momentum track, your speaking track kind of on there. You talk about Disney principles in there a lot, but momentum is for, creators, like small business people. So this is a great question from Adam. Like, how did you decide to do that and why? And I really don't think it was because of lack of revenue from the Disney stuff, but I think it's more of the way you wanted to give back. And tell me if I'm wrong.
It was never part of the business plan. Not that I've ever written down a business plan. So I've sort of built everything that I've been doing on the Disney side of things I was always going to conferences because I'm just a sponge. I just wanted to learn. And as I was attending conferences, people were like, oh, you should get up there and tell your story about going from lawyer to doing what you do. As I was doing it more and more often, and people started to come to me and started asking me questions, I wanted to help them because, especially when I first started, I didn't have any help. We all are figuring out as we go along. But I know how lonely and scary and frustrating it can be, especially early on. So because I didn't have that, because I didn't have somewhere to go to, and people were coming to me with questions, if somebody comes to you with the same question 3 times, it's a common problem and one that you can try and help solve. I wanted to find a way to give back by helping them in a way that I didn't have. It started off with one-on-one coaching, masterminds, and then I just built the event that I wanted to attend, which was not a 2,000 person conference. It was a 50 person one-room conference. And it, from there, different iterations of ways that I've been able to try and help people have come about. But again, it didn't come from, I think this is a really good way to make money. It came from just sort of this natural progression, ways to help people, and then obviously being able to find out ways to monetize on top of that.
I think one of the scariest things for solopreneurs, entrepreneurs is when you do start monetizing, it's great and it's awesome. But the scary part is when it plateaus, right? And you want to grow, or maybe even it starts to go down when it comes to your monetization and your revenue. So Lou, when a creator, has a bunch of irons in the fire from the monetization standpoint, but all of a sudden they kind of hit this revenue plateau, what's the first few levers that they can pull to kind of restart it or go down a different channel? Like, how can they get back out of that plateau and continue to grow?
I think it's important to not let yourself get to that plateau. And what I mean by that is you need to always be iterating. You always need to be looking to what's next. You can keep spinning those plates or juggling those bowling balls, whatever sort of the euphemism is you want to use. But I'm always looking to do what's next. It's why I don't sleep very much. But it's also because I love what I do. And like, if one thing is that, things like COVID taught us is if you put all of your eggs in one or sometimes 2 baskets, you can potentially be in trouble. If you put all of your eggs onto a single platform or a single group or whatever, you could potentially be in trouble. So it's why that graphic looks the way it does, because if one of those things goes away for one reason or another, I have other revenue streams. And plus, for me, man, it's always doing something new. Like, that's what continues to fuel my fire. It's what I love doing. Like, people are like, why are you adding this on? Why are you like, because I love doing it. And I love the pursuit of building something and finding new ways to reach and hopefully help people.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, really quick, another very smooth segue is helping people is what Ecamm does. So if you're not a part of their community, make sure you check them out on a Facebook page, their Discord server. They are doing so much cool stuff in there. They've got some awesome stuff coming down the road. I have a little privileged information because I'm in a certain little group of people, and there's some awesome stuff coming, guys. So make sure you guys join their community. You can find out more at ecamm.com/Jeff. If you haven't checked them out yet, you can use code Jeff15 to save 15% on your first purchase. Love for you to be a part of the community. Awesome support inside of Ecamm. So as we go on to this next section, we want to talk about kind of this monetization blueprint that Lou has put together. He's got a virtual course that's coming up shortly. But I wanted to ask you guys, how many of you feel like you're guessing when it comes to pricing and offers? So let us know, yes or no, down in the comments. Wherever you're watching from, do you feel like you're guessing when it comes to pricing and offers? This is a big struggle for a lot of people, and everybody, we've talked about it earlier in the show, everybody seems to lowball it. So if you're struggling with pricing, let us know, because I think that's a big part of the struggle for a lot of creators. But as we talk about this monetization workshop, this is a kind of a framework and a blueprint you're doing. I think it's almost like a half a day virtual training, Lou, that you're putting together. And by the way, you can find out about that blueprint by going to loumongello.com/virtual-workshop. So that's loumongello.com/virtual-workshop to find out more about that, because it's going to be amazing. This is one of Lou's most popular sections of his talk. When he talks about momentum, this is one where all the phones come up and people are taking pictures of that monetization slide. So You recently launched this, Lou. So what gap are you trying to fill? Like, this seems like, you mentioned not doing courses. This is more of kind of a cohort thing. So talk about why you decided to do this workshop.
So first of all, thank you for the plug, man. I really appreciate it. Again, I know that this is one of the biggest struggles that creators and solopreneurs and small businesses have. It's something that I talk about at Momentum. It's something that I talk about a lot at conferences, usually in a very restrictive amount of time. You've got a half hour, 45 minutes maybe to try and put all these things out there, and also not be able to work with people individually. I also know that my Momentum retreat or my Momentum workshop in Walt Disney World is not accessible to everyone because of timing, because of finances, because of school, work, whatever it might be. So I wanted to find a way to help people. Again, this goes back to the idea of courses. I didn't want to create a course and just sort of put it out there and hope that people can figure out what applies to them, because you can't ask a course a question. So rather than, I was going to do this as a one-day in-person workshop. My timing has just been spread thin because I'm
on a boat.
Because I'm sometimes away. So I said, what is the most accessible way I could reach them? It's not the most amount of people, but at a small scale, but still be able to give what I want. So the way I have it, this one structured is it's limited to 25 people. It's half day. I'm going to teach all the different monetization principles and sort of the blueprint in the morning, but I also want it to be something that's interactive. So we're going to sort of have this combination of, exercises and mastermind and opportunity for people to get their questions answered. I think that's the biggest challenge that people have is you can go to a session at a conference and you can take great notes, and then you go home and you're like, yeah, but how do I apply this to me? I can't ask these notes. I can't ask that speaker a question. I want to try and bridge that gap in a way that is accessible and easy and affordable for people too. Because I understand, going to a conference can be very, very expensive, not just in terms of the conference itself, but in terms of travel and hotel and food and things like that.
We got courses, we have products, we have services, we have sponsorships, we have paid, live streams, paid workshops. All of those things are ways you can monetize what you are doing online, what you are creating online. But today, Lou, how do you define monetization for creators? Is it simply products, services, or is it community? Or is it something else entirely? Like, how do you define monetization?
Connor, I'm hosting this one-day live interactive workshop where I really could answer that question for you.
It's called a softball. All right.
Yeah. No, look, it's funny because as I'm putting this together, and I do have the freedom of time to really sort of go down a lot of the different pathways that I don't get to do, especially in content-specific conferences like podcasting. I have a finite amount of time to talk about what I think are some of the broader strokes. Here we can go down a little bit of deeper paths because I do almost want to give you as a creator a little bit of a menu. I want to give you that blueprint, and then you can go from there and say, yeah, this works for me. This works for me. This is not something maybe that I'm comfortable doing. Maybe I don't want to record a course. I don't want to get up in front of people, but this is a great idea. And then you can sort of pick and choose a la carte off that menu to do what works for you. Because I think one of those people don't realize is there are so many different ways you can potentially monetize, and possibly in ways that you've never even thought about before.
So, all these announcements. I don't remember this when I was on the ship. It's just like, until you're going live, you don't realize how much audio stuff's
They're doing drills, but they're doing drills because we're in port today. Sorry.
Oh, that's it. Okay. One of the even if you're in your room, you would have heard all this stuff. So it's that way all over the ship. So one thing, if you guys didn't catch that, he's limiting this to 25 people. So if you're interested in signing up, do it sooner rather than later. Once again, loumongello.com/virtual-workshop to go sign up for that. But Lou, I want to know, what are some of the core steps you're going to walk creators through to go from content to income? Now, I'm putting a caveat on that because there's a lot of people think, I can just do this, hit an easy button, and I start making money. There is a process to this. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme, but as if you're a creator and you you maybe want to take your side hustle into a full-time gig, or you're even wanting to start a side hustle. Like, what are those core steps that you're going to walk creators through to go from content to income?
It's really about building your personal roadmap, right? We can sort of use that analogy too, because I think where you start and where you can eventually get to in terms of monetization are sort of blocks that you can fill in. So there are not, I don't think there's any easy way, Jeff. I think there are simple ways to start. Affiliate programs are simple ways to start monetizing. It's a simple way for you to start making your audience understand that this is a business and there are going to be ads, there are going to be offers. Then maybe there are things like, well, what can you build on your own? Is it a course? Is it a product? Is it a digital product? Is it a physical product? Is it a book, right? What are some of the things that you can offer that are your own, that you have complete control of, that you can sell? What are other ways that you could monetize your experience and expertise? Is it consulting? Is it coaching? Is it speaking? And there are sort of, if you sort of look at it that way, you might not be able to do that one yet, or you might not be interested in doing speaking yet, but that might be something you want to eventually get to if you're comfortable doing it, because the ROI of speaking, I'll put it in very simple terms. You can make more from a day of speaking, and it's simpler than trying to sell the equal amount of revenue in affiliate income or from selling books, right? So what works for you along what stage of that roadmap?
Please. Following an announcement is for procedural purposes only.
Connor, you had something. Yeah.
I had something, but I'm going to kind of riff off of what Paul says here. Paul is the king of monetization. All right. He thinks he's humble. He isn't, right? He is the king of monetization. Right here. There's so many ways to monetize right now. I struggle with keeping focused on the main sources of revenue. He has so much revenue is what he's coming after, right? Of course, I'm kidding. But how do you prioritize revenue streams while experimenting with new ways to monetize? So I want to know your answer to that, Lou. Like, how do you stay true to the core of your revenue while also experimenting with new ways to monetize? And I also want to know, what's something that's a monetization way that you're interested in, but you've never tried before?
Ooh, that's a good one.
No, I'll answer in reverse. I've tried a lot. I've tried a lot because, and sometimes trying it doesn't mean necessarily fully executing on it. So courses are a great example. I wrestled with courses for years, and I've had notes and stuff like, okay, I've got the framework of my course. Now I have to go build it, and I'll sit there and stare at the camera like I've never talked to a camera before. It just didn't feel right for me, so I would put it to the side. I'm like, I will come back to this when it feels right. I'll come back to it when I've sort of cracked the code for me personally, which eventually I did. Like I did a small email course, and then I did a very small, like I did a free course, and then I did like a 5-day $7 email course, which it scratched that itch for me in terms of building a course. But I also realized, hey, you know what? And I still have a full outline and framework for a course I was going to build. It still doesn't feel right for me because I would rather divert my attention to something like the 1-day workshop that is repeatable, it's sustainable, I can reach more people, I can iterate from it. So this first one is very much admittedly going to be an experiment. I'll see what works. I'll see what kind of questions people have. And with everything that I do, I hope to get better time over time over time. So I can continue to do these virtually, and I also want to do them in person. This originally started as an idea to do these in person, but I said, what's the easiest lift, not just for me, but for attendees, was to do it virtually. I'll iterate, I'll get better, and I'll continue to expand on, I already have my own roadmap of other ideas and other things I want to execute on going forward.
Yeah. So I want to pull up this comment from our friend Sean from But Mostly Disney. He says, I should try speaking. I never shut up anyway. Listen, Sean, you would be a great speaker. You really are. I mean, your live show is great training for that. I think you would do awesome at that. It's just getting that first one. I tell everybody whenever they're speaking, always record it, no matter what. Like if you're speaking at your Chamber of Commerce, if you're doing whatever, always record, because you can repurpose that into a course, a talk, a lead magnet, all sorts of stuff. We throw so much content out there and we just don't do anything with it so many times or repurpose it enough. Anyway, whole nother show, but Sean, I think you'd be great. Adam says, he has a great question. He goes, with affiliate programs, do they mostly approach you at this point? Or are you tracking them down yourself? Great question.
So I think for the most part, it will start off with you seeking them out yourself, right? Amazon is a very easy one to do, but you also have to you got to sell Amazon at scale. And if you are just starting out, you may not make a lot of revenue. I prefer to go and find products and services that you use and will serve your audience because it has to be authentic to you. I'm not going to sort of promote, Ecamm, for example, which I have used for more than a decade and love. I'm not going to promote it unless I actually use it. So going out to some of those companies, finding out ones first that have affiliate programs. If you're a podcaster, go listen to other podcasts in your space. Find out who's already advertising, right? Because that's easier and they're already spending the money. They already understand the space. Start looking to them. A lot of the work is already being done for you because companies have affiliate programs built in. Sometimes they're just very easy to sign up. You don't even need to sort of be pre-approved. And then you can also find companies that are already sponsoring or have programs that are working well for other creators.
I think one thing that, I would approach with trepidation, certain affiliate programs, because you want to think is this a good fit? Like Lou was saying, Jeff brought it up, you shouldn't just sign up for Audible because it's easy to sign up for Audible because it's an easy affiliate program to get started with, right? I would, struggle to find someone who's never heard of Audible right now, right? Everyone knows about Audible. Their business structure is just have as many people talk about it as possible. Mm-hmm. So when you do those big ones and you're not going to earn a whole lot from them and people might not sign up for them because they already know what it is, caution yourself and set your expectations low, because what I would hate for someone to do is start on an affiliate program, realize no one's buying this thing, and then just say, well, I can't monetize whatever I'm doing, the content that I have. I think that that's a really slippery slope that you can go down. So with that being said, Lou, how do you know when to stop on a certain monetization trajectory, stopping on a certain thing you're selling or offer you're doing? When do you determine, hey, you know what? The juice is not worth the squeeze here.
Yeah, I knew very quickly, Jeff's Only Feet affiliate program was not going to work for my audience. It just did not align with the Disney brand.
You would have been a millionaire by now. But anyway.
Those weird pinky toes. God,
bring back that second order chicken tenders. I can't eat anything else the rest of the day. What was the question? No. So how do you know if it's just not working for you? I think you hit the nail on the head, Connor, about setting reasonable expectations for what you want this program to do. If you are going to do something like Amazon, you have to understand you need a significant amount of not just traffic and community, but conversions in order for that to pay any kind of real dividend. You're probably not going to be able to pay off your mortgage with Amazon affiliates right out of the gate, but they could be building blocks to something else. And if you're going to take something away, just make sure you have something else to replace that gap with. But if you just find that something is not working, it's not organic and authentic to you, whether it's an affiliate program or even sponsorships, sometimes you have to sort of, divorce the marriage if it's not working out for the two of you, even sometimes before the end of maybe a contracted run.
Yeah. So I want to talk real quick on this final question, maybe some misconceptions that people have about monetization. We mentioned Audible. It's an easy one. It's easy to sign up for. Amazon as well. One of the things that I see a lot of creators not do is they kind of, this was a great question by Adam, if they're going to approach you or do you go and track them down yourself? I think a lot of people think they're just going to come to you. And a lot of times people just don't ask. The reason I have Ecamm as a sponsor for my show is because I asked. That's it. And creators don't ask. So if you have something that you love and you use and you want to share with the world, ask. Just go and ask that company, and they may have an affiliate program they didn't know. They may want to partner with you for 3 to 6 months. I just see a lot of creators don't ask those questions, and the worst that they can do is say no. Get used to hearing no, that's fine, because rejection is just part of the game if you're a creator out there. So that's the first one I'd want to talk about. What else do you think that creators, when you've done these workshops, you've led masterminds, what are some other big misconceptions, Lou, that you see creators having when it comes to monetization of their content?
Jeff, you made a great point. Surprisingly, you made a great point about the work. If you were going to reach out to a potential sponsor, you have to sort of maybe sometimes reframe your thinking. You'll reach out like, oh, you should sponsor me. You have to sort of tell them, like, what's in it for them? Why are you a good partner? What is something you can bring to the table that's different? Have a conversation with them about what it is that you might be able to provide this sponsor that maybe somebody else doesn't, whether it is your audience, whether it is a creative idea. Just saying, hey, I want you to come out and sponsor me is probably not going to get you the results that you want. And just a very quick story, like when I first started out looking for sponsors, again, it was, 20 years ago was a very different time. Like I literally flew from New Jersey, where I used to live, to Florida. And I went like door to door to third-party operating participants and hotels and restaurants in and around Walt Disney World, like saying, this is what I do, this is what I can offer, this is who my audience is, this is how I can demonstrate the trust that they have in and with me. Here's what I can bring to the table for you. I literally and figuratively had the door slammed in my face many, many, many times, which is a very humbling, but I think important experience. To a certain degree, have to do that, literally, now doing it electronically, you don't get that physical door slammed in your face the way I did, but you have to sort of do that proactive outreach, but position it as, what can I bring to the table that maybe somebody else can't?
Yeah. And so we had him on our show last year. Justin Moore has written a great book called Sponsor Magnet, and it's all about getting these sponsors. And one of the things is just what Lou said, is that, you want to make sure that you don't say, hey, I have this audience, you should come to me. It's like, here's what I can give you. Like they get those pitches all the time. And so like, if you can go and like, hey, I would love to do this because of this, and I share about this, and make it very specific about, don't just come to me because I'm so good and I talk about Disney all the time. No, I can offer you this because this is what I'm doing right now, and I would love to work together with you, instead of just, just read that book and watch how you word things, because it does make a huge difference on how people look at you. So we have one more question from Adam. Great questions, Adam. Thank you so much for all your questions today. He says, Lou, have you worked with monetizing content for a younger demographic? That always seems to be a difficult path. I mean, Disney makes sense, because I think that's kind of the, it seems like it'd be a younger demo for you.
It's funny because, again, and me, about not being a numbers guy, I'm not a stats guy, but when I do go in and look to see different demographics, whether it's in, digital downloadable statistics, or if I just look around the room when I do a cruise or I do a meet of the month, I see such a wide spectrum of people. It can be young solo people or young solo couples up into, grandmothers and grandfathers. So I have to keep that in mind in terms of the products and sponsors and things that I offer, because I know that it is reaching a pretty wide spectrum. I don't necessarily think about, well, hey, how can I target the 18 to 24-year-olds? Because one, maybe that's not who my audience predominantly is. Maybe those are not the people that are necessarily going to come on a cruise or go on Adventures by Disney or even come to some of my events. But on the momentum side, it's different, because I reach creators that are younger to really, really old people like Jeff.
Yeah, let's talk about age.
I know how you can start really going after the younger audience. Here's a product for you, a Labubu. We call it a Lou Labubu, and it looks just like you. I think it's the same size if you think about it.
That is. Just put it on your lap. Yeah.
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 A Lou Labubu.
Lulu Labubu. This has been great. I want to, the last couple minutes we have, Lou, I want you to let you have the floor, and you tell everybody why they should go to this monetization workshop you have, when it is, how to sign up, all that stuff. The floor is now yours, my friend.
just in time. Oh, well, there you go.
Say there you go.
So first, thank you again for inviting me to come on. I love what you guys are doing. I love that you guys are helping so many people, again, at scale and in so many different ways, and bringing on so many different smart, creative people. And it's an honor, seriously, to be part of this. The virtual workshop is on Friday, March 20th from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Again, it's going to be teaching in the morning, but it's going to be conversational, and then we'll do some exercises and have some sort of workshop and Q&A time in the afternoon. I believe there's only 6 spots left, but you can go, the link is there, loumongello.com/virtual workshop, and it'll take you right there. And you can also find out some of the other ways that I can help you, either with my free course, a $7 course, one-on-one coaching, and then my Momentum workshop is in Walt Disney World in the fall, and I have a Momentum 6-person mastermind retreat also in Orlando coming up early summer.
Very, very cool. As you know, Connor and I and a lot of people in the audience right now are big fans of Momentum. A lot of us met there for the first time. I think I've been going for now. Lou still hasn't locked me out. I go there 5 years now. I think I've been going. So that could change. That could change. So thank you guys so much for watching. Connor Brown, where can people find out about the amazing, unsinkable Connor Brown?
You can find out more at vacationkingdoms.com and at Vacation Kingdoms across social media. Let's get you booked for your next adventure, maybe summer, maybe spring break. You can see how well the Wi-Fi is working on a cruise. If you want to work from a cruise, let me know. We can get you all booked there.
I wish I was working from a cruise. By the way, Connor is he's the guy who set me up going to Disneyland. So he doesn't just do Disney World. He does all sorts of vacation packages. He set me up. I'm going to, and Lou will be there as well, at Social Media Marketing World coming up at the end of April. I'm going to spend about 3 days with my daughter at Disneyland because she's never been there. And Connor set us all up, gave us his great advice. He's got an amazing email sequence when you sign up for any of his packages that is top notch, helping you plan your trip. So if you haven't gone to Vacation Kingdoms in a while, you need to go there and check it out. Thank you, guys. Thank you to Adam for all the great questions. Paul Gowder is in the comments. Michelle O'Connor, everybody who stopped by, asked the great questions. Thank you for Lou for being on the ship and then dialing in for us during the show today. We've actually had somebody, I think it was, who was it, who said, love hearing all the Disney music in the background. Hopefully we won't get kicked off of any platform because of that. If Disney comes after us. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been a great show. Thank you, Lou. Thank you, Connor. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
Okay.